In the 70s of the last century, Stephen Hawking turned the world of physics upside down when he announced that black holes are not so black after all, and that some light can actually escape the edge of the singularity. That bombshell, which inspired a completely new way of looking at black holes, was not the last time Hawking made shocking statements about the nature of the cosmos. He just wrote something in his latest book that divided the opinion of the world public. God does not create the universe. Thank you. Thank you. From his desk at the University of Cambridge, Stephen Hawking explored the deepest depths of black holes, the vast uncharted cosmos spinning billions of years back, witnessing the first breath of time. He viewed creation from the perspective of a scientist, and when invited to discuss the most important puzzles of creation, where we come from, what our purpose is, whether we are alone, he responded as a scientist, often to the chagrin of religious critics. In his last book, Brief Answers to the Big Questions, Professor Stephen Hawking begins a series of 10 intergalactic essays addressing the oldest and most religious question of all life: is there a God? Hawking's response, composed of decades of previous interviews, essays, and speeches with the help of his family and colleagues, should not surprise readers who have followed his work from a religious perspective. I believe that the universe was spontaneously created from nothing, in accordance with scientific laws. If you accept, as I do, that the laws of nature are established, then it doesn't take long to wonder what the role of God is. Hawking wrote, in life, Hawking was a loud champion of the Big Bang Theory. The idea is that the universe began by suddenly exploding from a singularity smaller than an atom. From this stain, all matter, energy, and empty space that the universe would ever contain has emerged, and all that raw material has evolved into the cosmos that we observe today. By following a strict set of scientific laws, Hawking and many scientists and like-minded individuals believe that the combined laws of gravity, relativity, quantum physics, and several other rules could explain everything that has ever happened, or will ever happen in our known universe. If you want, you can say that the laws are God's work, but that is more a definition of God than proof of his existence. Hawking wrote, while the universe is driven by a scientifically guided autopilot, the only role of an omnipotent deity can be to set the initial conditions of the universe so that these laws can take shape. A divine creator who triggered the Big Bang and then stepped back to observe his creation. Did God create the quantum laws that allowed the Big Bang to happen? I do not wish to offend anyone because of their faith, but I think science has a more convincing explanation than a divine creator. Hawking wrote, in the book The Grand Design, Hawking argues that the universe did not need divine inspiration to come into being. Since there is a law like gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. Spontaneous creation is the reason why there is something rather than nothing, why the universe exists, why we exist. A God is not needed to kickstart the universe. It is written in his book. Hawking's explanation begins with quantum mechanics, which explains how subatomic particles behave. In quantum studies, it is common to see subatomic particles like protons and electrons that seemingly appear out of nowhere, linger for a while, and then disappear again in a completely different place. Since the universe was once the size of a subatomic particle, it is likely that it behaved similarly during the Big Bang. Hawking wrote, the universe in all its astonishing vastness and complexity could simply have come into being without violating the known laws of nature. He wrote, it still does not explain the possibility that God created that singularity the size of a proton and then flipped a quantum mechanical switch that allowed it to jump. Ollie Hawking says that science has an explanation here as well. For illustration, he points to the physics of black holes, collapsed stars that are so dense that nothing, including light, can escape their pull. Black holes like the universe of a Big Bang collapse into singularity. In this ultra-dense point of mass, gravity is so strong that it distorts time as well as light and space. Simply put, in the depths of a black hole, time does not exist. Since the universe also began as a singularity, time itself could not have existed before the Big Bang. Hawking's answer to what happened before the Big Bang is there was no time before the Big Bang. Finally, we found something that has no cause, because there was no time for a cause to exist. For me, that means that there is no possibility of a creator, because there is no time for a creator to have existed in it. Hawking wrote, "This argument will persuade believers a little, but that was never Hawking's intention." As a scientist with almost religious devotion to understanding the cosmos, Hawking sought to know the mind of God, learning everything he could about the self-sufficient universe around us. Although his view of the universe could make the divine creator and the laws of nature incompatible, he still leaves enough room for faith, hope, wonder, and especially gratitude. We have this one life to appreciate the magnificent design of the universe. It says at the end of the first chapter of his last book, and for that, I am extremely grateful to him. In the last years of his life, Hawking warned that humanity should avoid contact with aliens at all costs, as the consequences could be devastating. The only chance for humanity's long-term survival lies in the colonization of space. As people are depleting Earth's resources and facing a frightening array of new threats, do you agree with the statements of Stephen Hawking? Does science have answers to all questions? Write to us in the comments section.